All right, we just wrapped up week one of the 2024 NFL season. So that means it's time for us to react, overreact, and for me to give you my first power rankings list of the 2024 season. I'm not ranking any of these teams until I see them play a meaningful game on the field. I'm watching 99% of all these games each and every week. I'm taking notes, keeping tabs, and it was an exciting, excellent week one, I think, for all of us out there. A lot of great primetime games. Awesome games in the early window on Sunday. 4 o'clock window wasn't great. A little bit of a snoozer on Monday night, but it's our first rankings of the season. And remember, these are power rankings, not the standings ranking all 32 teams. But let's kick it off with our bottom tier teams. Some of these teams I think are already packing it up for 2025 and beyond because boy almighty did it look bad. All right, sorry, Panthers. Maybe Bryce Young should just retire and become a family man because it feels over. But they do have their first round pick this year. So number one again for the Panthers. Giants, Danny Dimes is terrible. Defense isn't great. I did like what I saw out of Malik Neighbors, but man, tough luck, Giant fans. Vegas at 31. I mean, the offense started out strong, but really nothing to show for most of the game. Gardner Minshew, we know what he is at quarterback, and it's not great. Defense folded late, and I'm not sure Antonio Pierce, that rah-rah mentality can actually win you games in the NFL. Denver at 29. Bo Nix was awful. 42 passing attempts, 0 running game. The skill position looked horrible, and Nix didn't look good either. Tennessee blew a 17-point lead without giving up a touchdown on defense. Good for you, Titans. I mean, Will Levis gave us the meme of the year, but disastrous game for the Titans. Maybe the defense is a little bit better than it. Cleveland at 27. The defense wasn't good. That's their best unit, but my God, Deshaun Watson is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Maybe terrible human, just doesn't care. He's given up. Got his $230 million, so good for him, I guess. New England, we know New England isn't a very good team, but a solid performance. Congratulations, Gerard Mayo, on his first NFL win. The offensive line looked better than I thought it would look. Ramondre Stevenson led the way. Nothing special on offense from the quarterback or skill positions, but hey, defense was good. Christian Gonzalez, a very solid job against Jamar Chase. Washington Commanders, this is the worst defense in football. They're awful. That secondary is bad. Dan Quinn has not done his job fixing it, but they ran the ball, I thought, effectively. They couldn't really pass the ball, I thought, but Jane Daniels, good with the run in the football. Brian Robinson, solid day. We knew Cliff Kingsbury designed a running game. Atlanta, disaster game for the Falcons. Kirk Cousins looked old as can be and coming off of an injury. He looked bad. He was very uncomfortable. You could tell he was favoring that injured leg. It was just not good whatsoever. Defense did an okay job, but they still lost the game. They didn't give up a touchdown, though. But Atlanta, devastating game for them if you watch the Falcons. And Green Bay here at 23. I have to put Green Bay here at 23. Jordan Love out for a month. Malik Willis is going to be the quarterback. He couldn't even throw a football. It wouldn't even look like he was holding the football correctly. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. I think this is why you need decent backup quarterbacks if you have a guy, because you can't have a drop-off like this. Green Bay could go 0-4 very realistically. Maybe Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs carries them as far as offense is concerned, because the defense didn't look great against Philadelphia, but I like the skill positions there. But this really is just a massive quarterback downgrade. But let's get into our middle tier teams 22 through 16. Okay, 22, I got the Saints at 22. I'm not going to boost the Saints for destroying a terrible Panthers team, but, the defense we knew would be solid. I need to see more consistency out of that offense. That is some positive signs from this game. Alvin Kamara looked good running the football, but Chris Olave, nowhere to be found. That was kind of weird. Derek Carr, maybe unneededly hated by the Saints fans. He looked a lot better, but the Saints could be moving up this list very quickly. I really want to see more from them. Chargers at 21. Justin Herbert wasn't great, but when he needed to make throws, he made throws. They're really hurting at those wide receivers, but Lad McConkey looked decent. J.K. Dobbins had himself a day, and the defense did enough against a bad offense. Good, well-coached team. Chargers finally, amazing. Chicago at 20. Caleb in the offense looked horrible. Caleb was inaccurate all over the place. Only had 149 yards of offense, but the defense and special teams bear down all those points for them. 2 touchdowns for that unit. Single-handedly won the game for them. So if that's going to be the formula, it's not going to win you a whole lot of games against good teams, but you'll probably beat bad teams. Need to see more out of this Bears offense. Cincinnati at 19. It was a disaster for the Bengals. Joe Burrow didn't look comfortable pushing the ball down the field. Their defense couldn't get stops when they needed to get stops. It felt like New England was gashing them, man. killing them on the ground, and they couldn't get the ball back. But yeah, Joe Burrow doesn't have T. Higgins out there. He looked bad. There's no running backs, really. You don't feel any heat from Zach Moss or Chase Brown. It was just kind of weird for them. Pittsburgh at 18, offense was awful. They got 6 field goals. They won the game. The defense is awesome. Pittsburgh's defense is awesome. I don't know if you can win all these games with that formula, but they got a formula. They're going to try it. Justin Fields, I don't think, did enough to keep the starting job. I want to see Russell Wilson in there, maybe get a little bit more out of this offense, but the defense for Pittsburgh, crazy good. Arizona, kind of a reverse. The offense was really strong in this game early. Defense we knew was going to be bad, so that's not surprising that they gave up all those points to them, but I was disappointed with how they finished offensively. Really didn't manage to do much. Kyler Murray didn't even look Marvin Harrison Jr.'s way towards the end of the game. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but James Conner running the ball really strong. Arizona, I want to see them against teams maybe more their talent level. And then my Vikings, give them 16, man. I think this is about where this team was last year, and they have a major upgrade at quarterback. It feels like Sam Darnold was awesome, 12 for 12 to start the game. Kevin O'Connell drawing up plays, and the defense felt a lot better. I know it's a bad Giants team, but a lot of added pieces that fit this defense a lot better than they had last year. Secondary still not great, and I think that's going to be the Achilles heel, but Aaron Jones, huge for this Vikings offense, a thing that they did not have last year running the football. He was excellent on the ground, over 100 total yards and 94 on the ground, so big upgrade, but this is what you guys have came here for, our top 15 teams. Let's get into number 15, maybe a surprise to some of you. Okay, I got the Seattle Seahawks just here at 15. I thought this was a nice win for the Seahawks. Now, the offensive line does concern me. I think this is a problem for the Seahawks. They were able to run the ball finally in the second half of this game with Kenneth Walker. Give my man K9 the ball, man. They don't give him the ball enough. Passing game wasn't great, but they tried to pass it a lot. I feel like they've been practicing their passing a lot more than they're running. Gino was running for life a little bit, and he did hit the nastiest shutter move on that touchdown run. Good for Gino. Holy smokes. Defense was a much improved unit. This is where I thought the strength of Seattle was going to lie. Again, they took a little bit. They look like a young coach team. Congratulations, Mike McDonald, on his first career NFL win, but they got to clean some things up. I think they are looking a little inexperienced from the coaching standpoint, but if this defensive unit is going to be really good, I think the offense will get it settled and figured out with veteran guys all over the place. Tyler Lockett, your veteran guy, big day. DK got locked down a little bit, but Patrick Surtain is kind of a dog, so I think Seattle's in good spot here to start the season. We'll see how they do moving forward. Okay, number 14, your Jacksonville Jaguars. I was a little disappointed in Jacksonville, to say the least. I'm high on the Jaguars. I have the Jaguars making the playoffs this year, but man, 17-3 lead, and they fell apart. Travis Etienne is walking into the end zone, and he gets the ball punched out. Dolphins recover, 80-yard touchdown the next play to Tyreek Hill. That's kind of all she wrote. The Jags going for just stupid Doug Peterson going for it on fourth down. I thought the Jags defense did a really good job for 95% of this game. They really disrupted that Miami offense. They made them uncomfortable. They made them do checkdowns. They couldn't run the ball whatsoever. But this offense for the Jags, they couldn't run the ball effectively. Travis Etienne, not a great day. Tanks Bigsby looked better as the two running backs. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie wide receiver at LSU, had a nice day, but Trevor was still Trevor. The offensive line is still kind of shaky. It's just like always a letdown from these Jaguars. That's why I got them here 14. I think this is a good team, but man, in big situations against other good teams, I think they're always going to let us down. Okay, number 13, I got the Indianapolis Colts. Now, we're going to ride the Anthony Richardson roller coaster for as long as we can. He only had 9 completions, but guess what? They were a hell of a 9 completions for Anthony Richardson. 2 plus 50-yard bombs for him, and he was doing it on the ground. This was a gritty, ugly game. The Colts defense was playing a lot of bend, don't break. They eventually did break towards the end there, but the Colts offense, give them a lot of credit. They had big explosive plays. They were exciting and fun. I don't know if Anthony Richardson can keep this up. I hope he stays healthy. He is a freak of an athlete. He can run. He's got the howitzer on his arm, slinging the ball downfield. They lost to a good team at home. Kind of sucks, but I think this is a good Colts team. I had them getting into the wild card spot, and nothing I saw this weekend deterred me from that. I thought they are a very well-coached team. They're very hungry out there, it looks like. They play with a lot of tenacity because that defense isn't super talented, but they really got after it. Offensive line's got to be the key for this team. I want to see them run the ball more. Jonathan Taylor really didn't do much on the ground. I need to see more out of him. Guys like Michael Pittman got to step up. But all in all, I'm going to be optimistic if I'm a Colts fan after what I saw this weekend. Okay, at 12, I'm going to put the Jets here at 12. I know they didn't look great against the 49ers. Now, look, the 49ers are one of the best teams in football. That defense was nasty out there, giving them a ton of fits. I don't love what I saw out of Nathaniel Hackett's play calling. Maybe we need to get his ass out of there like we've been saying. Let Rodgers do it all. I don't think they had a great approach to this, but when they did find success throwing the ball, they had some nice plays. They went down, scored a couple touchdowns. The big concern in this game was the defense, man. I didn't think we'd be saying that leaving this game. The Jets defense was abysmal, man. They couldn't get off the field and they couldn't stop San Francisco at all. San Francisco ran the ball at will without Christian McCaffrey down the Jets' throats, and then they lined the Jets up in man coverage, and the Jets couldn't get stops. Zero pass rush pressure from them. It's almost like they need a guy like Hassan Reddick that could come in there and get after the quarterbacks in those four-man fronts. If only they could do something to figure something like that out. But I'm not going to totally hit the eject button on the Jets on the road against a great team, the defending NFC champions. This was a tough spot for them. Let's see how they do next week. They got to go fly back across country, and they're going to a bad Titans squad. They got to go get a win out there. I think we're going to see a much better performance from the Jets next weekend, because if we don't, then it's time to really hit the panic button if you're a Jets fan. But for right now, Jets at 12. Okay, I got Tampa Bay at 11. Baker money maker, lighting it up, 4 touchdowns on the day for him. And look, this Buccaneers offense showed you exactly what they could be. I know they were playing the worst defense, but you got to pour it on the bad defenses. Now, they did struggle early, settling for field goals and not getting touchdowns. They weren't great on third down early in this game, but Mike Evans still Mr. Consistent. I love what I saw out of Chris Godwin. We needed more out of him as your number 2 receiver. Pair him with Mike Evans. The running game was okay. Rachaad White, still a lot of volume, but not a lot of efficiency. But, you know, they ran a 2-back system and it worked out a little bit better. But Baker's really the story here. He lit it up. You love to see situations like that. I've been the biggest hater of Baker for a long time, but man, last year turned the page for me, and I love what I see. Once you start doubting Baker, that's when Baker plays his best. Defense was pretty good early. Like I said, they weren't playing a good passing offense in Washington. They struggled a bit to stop the run and contain them, which is kind of the opposite of what they were. They were an excellent run defense last year in Tampa Bay. Now, they were missing the interior tackle, Kalijah Kancey, so maybe that had something to do with that. You're hurting, you're missing your big man in the middle. But all around, I think Tampa Bay's solid. Everyone's kind of slept on Tampa. Like, we kind of dismissed them. You got to find new playoff teams. Everyone said Tampa Bay's out of the playoffs, somebody else coming in. Tampa Bay looked really good, man. I'd be loving Tampa Bay to win that division. I think they look like the best team by far out of all those teams as far as what's sustainable and who they played. So Tampa Bay here at 11, positive signs for them. I got the Dolphins here at 10. I don't feel great about Miami. Call me crazy, man. I don't know. The offense really struggled for like 3 quarters, it felt like. Tua threw for a ton of yards. Doesn't hurt when you get 80 yards of it on one play. But they weren't able to run the ball super effectively. Devon Achane did end up having a nice day, but they got him involved in the passing game. Raheem Mostert did essentially nothing on the ground. So there was no really running for this Dolphins team. They struggled to score points in majority of this game. They struggled to pick up first downs. It was just kind of really ugly and sloppy. Felt like everything was behind the line of scrimmage. And that's kind of been the tale of this Dolphins team later in the seasons and not earlier. Normally they're coming out high flying, hanging up 50-point burgers on people left and right. But when defenses tighten up, the weather gets a little bit colder. This is what the Dolphins offense looks like. I don't love it, but their defense played a lot better than I thought they would. I thought we were going to see a real big step back from this Dolphins defense, but they stepped up in a big way. They were able to disrupt Trevor Lawrence. They shut down the run game for most of the game. I liked what I saw out of them. We know what the potential is for this Dolphins team. I'm off on them, but week in and week out, they seem to do win these close games. They do come down, make the big plays. They do kick good field goals with Jason Sanders. He missed one early, knocks it home for the game winner. And I think Mike McDaniel's a good head coach. So all in all, Dolphins here at 10. Okay, I'm going to put Buffalo here at 9 just because Buffalo has clearly the second best quarterback, I think, in the league, and that's going to be Josh Allen. Man, he just does everything. He can throw the ball with incredible accuracy, depth, power. It's crazy. He's got a crazy good arm, and he can run the football, leads this offense. He makes big-time plays, led the comeback for them, and he distributed the ball, had a ton of guys making catches out there for him. It's been a lot of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs the last few years. They're gone. In comes Keon Coleman, the rookie. He looked like he had a nice day. James Cook, a solid day on the ground. Want to get James Cook more involved. Hey, I'm not going to hate it as a Josh Allen fantasy owner, but I want to see James Cook get more involved as a football person. We knew this defense wasn't great. They did a lot better job in the second half. They essentially shut down the Cardinals. They did give up the kick return, though, for a touchdown, the special teams unit, so that does take a knock on you there. I think this is going to be kind of a frustrating season for Bills fans. I think it's going to be a lot of the offense having to score 28 to 35 points to win games, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it enough consistently. But for right now, we're going to ride with the Bills until somebody takes down the Bills. They've dominated this division. They've been a good playoff team. They win playoff games, but I think there are some serious flaws with this Bills team moving forward. Okay, number 8, the LA Rams. I've been high on the Rams coming into this season, and I was interested to see what the defense would look like without Aaron Donald, and they struggled a little bit early, but man, they did a really good job in the second half, shutting down the Lions, making things uncomfortable for them. Now, they did get gashed on that final drive of the game, but hey, man, that happens. It's week 1. The conditioning's not there. Sometimes it's just a bad matchup. They were given on the field the drive before. It's a tough beat, but I liked what I saw out of the Rams defense as a whole. Offense, on the other hand, I thought they struggled most of this game. Really big second half out of Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Great to see Cooper Kupp back to being Cooper Kupp, but they weren't able to run the ball really at all. Kyren Williams couldn't get anything going on the ground, and they lost Puka Nacua. He's back on the IR. He's going to miss the next 4 weeks. And besides Cooper Kupp, there's just a lot to be desired from these Rams wide receivers. Had a couple of big plays from some other guys, but all around just wasn't enough. It's the Kupp and Stafford show. They're not going to be able to win enough games playing like that. The defense is going to be good, I think, but you can't win like this. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to find somebody else to step up for them. But Sean McVay's still one of the best guys to do it here. Not going to be ashamed losing that game on the road in a hostile environment to a very good football team in overtime. So solid week 1 for the Rams, but concerning. We got to see what the offense looks like without Puka now. All right, Cowboys here at 7. I don't think Dallas did anything too crazy out there. Like I said, this was a lot of Deshaun Watson being horrendous than anything crazy the Cowboys did. We know what Mike Zimmer's defenses do. They get after the quarterback. They force turnovers. And, Cleveland never really even had a shot to get anything sort of settled or in tempo. So it makes sense they're going to have a good day. Cowboys offense essentially stopped playing in the second quarter, so I don't really know how to feel about them or to judge their offensive performance. They were moving the ball okay, pretty okay to well, I would say, early in this game. They went down there, got some points, got the touchdown to Brandon Cooks. Really nice throw by Dak Prescott there. But it doesn't hurt when you have the best kicker in the league. I wish they would have kicked that 71-yarder, okay? I wish they would have lined up for that 71-yarder. I wanted to see it, and it felt like there was a chance he could have made it. That's just how good they are, Dallas is. But we know Dallas' story. They're a team that loves the regular season. When they play good teams, they struggle. And then when it comes to the postseason, they always fold. So I'm going to put the Cowboys here at 7. I just don't think it was a great week to evaluate necessarily what the potential is for the Cowboys all in all. I'm going to give them a fair chance. So 7 feels about right. They're a good team, but I don't know if they're in this upper echelon just quite yet. Maybe a lopsided performance from a horrendous quarterback tilted this game. But Cowboys fans, have some optimism, I think. Okay, number 6, the Philadelphia Eagles go down to Brazil, take on the Packers, and it felt like, this game was back and forth, but I felt like Philly was the better team in this game. They won this game. Welcome Saquon Barkley, baby. 3 touchdown day for him. Probably should have had a 4th, but first and foremost, we got to get rid of the tush push. Get it out of the playbook, Nick Sirianni. It's not working as well. Hand it to 26. He's really good. Jalen Hurts, little shaky early. Some awful interception early. Like, my God, Jalen Hurts. Yikes. But had a much better second half, I thought. Got the ball to A.J. Brown, a couple of big plays. But when it was crunch time, went to Devontae Smith. That's what you love. You don't have to focus in. You have a big-time receiver like A.J. Brown, and then you got a guy like Devontae Smith who's money in big crunch situations. But the defense wasn't great. We knew the defense wasn't good. Secondary felt better, though. I know Jayden Reed had a day and a half, but I did like what I saw out of rookie cornerback Quinion Mitchell, their big secondary acquisition. It's going to be a work in progress. The run defense was really solid, though, from Philly. They were really strong. I thought Green Bay really struggled to run the ball from them. They got to do a better job of getting after the passer. I think that's going to help out that bad secondary. But I was ecstatic to see the Philadelphia Eagles offense get back to what we know it could be. I think they looked a lot closer to 2022 than 2023 offensively. They got the Falcons coming to town on Monday night, so should be another good game for them offensively. I'm going to be high on the Eagles right now. I picked them to win the division. I like what I saw from them so far. I was getting a little nervous early, but all in all, I think a really solid performance from your Eagles. Number 5, the Houston Texans. I mean, what can you say about Houston? We've been really high on them after last year's amazing season. In comes CJ Stroud, turns them from worst to first, but they added a ton of talent. I'm a huge fan of head coach DeMeco Ryans. This defense, we got to figure it out. They were doing good early, kind of gave up a couple of big ones, as I said earlier, to Indianapolis, but we're going to get that cleaned up if you're a Houston Texans fan. I trust DeMeco Ryans with this defense, but the offense, we were questioning all these mouths to feed. How is it going to work? Nico Collins had a great day. Stephon Diggs has 2 touchdowns. Tank Dell had a decent day. But Joe Mixon, baby, feed him the rock. 30 carries, 33 touches. I mean, shattering his career highs. Awesome day on the ground. And CJ Stroud, when push comes to shove, he's got to make a big throw. He makes a big throw. CJ Stroud is clearly the best quarterback we've had come into the league over the last few drafts, because we've had a lot of kind of stinkers, it feels like, of these college quarterbacks. And CJ Stroud is lighting it up, man. I think the sky is the limit for Stroud. I'm a huge fan of this Texans team all around. Offense is potent. The defense has to be a little bit better. I want to see a little bit better protection too. They struggled some early with the protection issues, but if they're going to run the football like that, it's going to be nightmares for teams, because then they're going to have to step up, get into the box, and we're going to have mismatches all day with those receivers. And if I trust a quarterback to hit it, it's going to be a guy like CJ Stroud. So Texans here in the top 5. Okay, only 4 teams left, and it's the same 4 teams that we were left with at the end of last season. And at number 4, we got the Detroit Lions. Good win for the Lions. Big game at home against a good team. And I like what I saw out of that defense. That secondary was a much better secondary, at least for the first 2/3 of that game, than I thought it was going to be. They were dominant out there. I was texting my buddies like, I am very concerned about how good the Lions are this year. Now, they pulled back a little bit. They struggled to stop Cooper Kupp, and you got to do a better job when there's really only one guy out there for the Rams. The pass rush was solid. Aiden Hutchinson had a nice game. I thought Stafford was having to move all over the place. So the defense gets an A for me. I thought they did a really good job for a majority of this game. Offense, on the other hand, for the Lions, kind of a weird game for them, man. No Sam Laporta, really, and absolutely zero Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs had an okay day. David Montgomery with your solid day. Huge overtime. Great game winner. Good for him. But Jameson Williams, the secret weapon everybody's been talking about, everyone's been high on him, have himself a career day. Huge day from him, like 150 plus yards for him, had the big touchdown reception. That's the big scary thing. If you're going to add a home run hitter like Jameson Williams to this offense, this is elite everywhere. The offensive line is great. We know that. But I was a little surprised, the Lions marched down the field. They got the game tying field goal, had a chance to get the touchdown. Jared Goff just does not scream the confidence into you. And that could be a me problem there. But again, they weren't relying on him to make the big throws in that overtime. I don't love Jared Goff in those situations against the high-tier elite quarterbacks. Jared Goff is good, but he's not great, and you might need a great quarterback to get over the hump. We're talking about the very tippy top of the NFL mountain here, and the Lions here at number 4, they clearly, I think, have the worst of the last 4 quarterbacks. Okay, number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Look, I'm not going to knock the Ravens for losing a game by 1 score on the road opening night at the defending Super Bowl champions. Now, I didn't love how the Ravens came out. I thought they would come out firing, head on fire, and they really didn't do that. The offensive line we knew was going to be an issue, replacing 3 starters on the offensive line. Lamar was running for his life for a little bit, but, Lamar running for his life is better than most teams' offenses. Lamar was absolutely electric out there. I don't think it's sustainable for an 17 game season plus going into the playoffs. He's going to get beat up. I think he had 16 carries, something like that. I want to see more out of the passing game. Zay Flowers was all right. Isaiah Likely stepping in. A huge day for Isaiah Likely. And there's been a lot of buzz at camp that Likely was the guy. We didn't see a lot of Mark Andrews, so maybe the 2 tight end set could be working. There is some worry there. Derrick Henry felt weird in the offense. I think we'll get that figured out. We need to get more Henry, I think. Defense was good all around. They did kind of, never really get enough. Like, they would stop them, but the Chiefs, it was like a bend, don't break. Chiefs would get into field goal range, kick the field goal. They did a good job in the red zone, keeping the Chiefs out of the end zone. Had the really bad blown coverage against Xavier Worthy for that second touchdown. Some things that the Ravens need to clear up. But again, we're talking about the Chiefs. We're talking about the Ravens. These are two of the best teams in this league. I don't think this is sustainable offensively. We got to get that figured out there for the Ravens. And the offensive line is something to keep an eye on moving forward. All right, number 2, the San Francisco 49ers, man. No McCaffrey, no problem for them. In comes Mason, and he lights it up over there. He had like, what, 30 carries, over 150 yards. Huge day for him, like career day for the young rookie. And Brock Purdy really impressed me. I thought Brock Purdy looked really good out there. Definitely feels like he improved throwing the football. He was getting matches he wanted all night. Now, guys were kind of wide open against that Jets defense, but he was really good. Missed on a couple of throws when it felt like they could have just buried the Jets, and they didn't. Got helped out by a couple of field goals, too, from their kicker. So you want to finish drives more efficiently, get in the end zone. But I was really happy with what I saw out of him. And then the Niners defense was a real nightmare for the Jets offensively. We know that. They could not establish any sort of run game. And if you can't run the football, life gets really hard really fast in the NFL. A couple of coverage lapses by the Niners secondary, but we know that's the weaker part of this very good defense. It's amazing how good the Niners always seem to be under Kyle Shanahan. You could plug and play any running back, it feels like, and you could probably go for 80 yards and a touchdown. But if you're a good running back, you're going to have yourself a day. Offensive line looked good. Brandon Ayuk dropped a touchdown, $30 million getting paid to drop touchdowns. Get that figured out, son. But Debo had a nice day. Can't wait to see McCaffrey back in this offense. I'm not looking forward to my Vikings having to play the Niners next weekend because I think the Niners, no Super Bowl hangover. I was worried about it. They looked really, really sharp, and I expect the Niners to be right back at it once again come January. And finally, number 1, your 2-time defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you got to put Kansas City number 1 here. Excellent win at home in the opener against the Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, some red zone issues for the offense. You want to see Mahomes and them finish those drives with some touchdowns. But oh my goodness, in comes Xavier Worthy. He has 2 touchdowns. How could you let Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes get the fastest guy in the NFL out of the combine and into the draft? Just unbelievable stuff. And of course, the Bills of all teams traded the pick that became Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. Just hilarious. But yeah, this offense looks like it's going to be very explosive. They're going to be able to run the ball effectively with Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice getting into his own. Now, Travis Kelce looking a little old out there, looking a little chunky. Got the boyfriend bod going there. That's what happens sometimes, man. You're doing a lot of stuff. You kind of get a little lackadaisical, but, you know, there are other guys out there that can fill in that role, and Rashee Rice is fitting in all those quick underneath stuff. I'm going to be interested to see how teams adjust to them, but the Kansas City defense, really good under Spags most of this game. The defensive line, Chris Jones, clearly the best defensive lineman in football now, especially when it comes to interior guys. He was a game wrecker. It felt like he could have had like 10 more sacks if he just kind of wasn't Lamar Jackson back there. Lamar's a freak, obviously, of an athlete. And the secondary, you know, had a couple of opportunities there, I think, to not let Isaiah Likely go the distance on them. But other than that, I was just really impressed with the Chiefs. Going for that three-peat, I think obviously they're the team to beat, and it's going to be really tough if the defense is as good as it's been over the last few years, and this offense can get those big explosive plays that they desperately lacked the last 2 seasons out of Xavier Worthy. Watch out, we could be seeing our first three-peat. But that's going to do it for us this week. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Go on, let me have it. I'll be able to debate you back and forth. We love a good debate here. Again, if you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We got new sports content every single day. If you want to support the channel more, sign up for a channel membership. You get all sorts of access to cool content, cool perks, help support me, allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. If you want to check out your favorite team this season, head on over to SeatGeek. Use code afterthereview for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek.com. Check out one of your boys live. Let me know what the atmosphere is like. I love to see it and hear it. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.